My parents took me to court after I bought my first house claiming my brother deserves it more. I didn't even hire a lawyer, just presented my documents, and the case was quickly dismissed. I'm still in disbelief that this actually happened. But here we go, some backstory. I grew up in a middle-ass suburb in Michigan. Dad, 58 male, worked as a regional manager for an office supply chain. Mom, 56 female, was an administrative assistant at a doctor's office. My younger brother, Tyler, 27 male, was always the golden child. Hockey player, popular, charismatic when he wanted to be, but basically coasted through life with minimal effort. My parents always claimed they had college funds for both of us, but when I graduated, suddenly there were investment losses and medical expenses that had depleted my fund. Funny how those same issues never affected Tyler's college fund a few years later. The favoritism wasn't subtle. Throughout high school, the contrast was ridiculous. Tyler had a new Jeep at 16, a $24,000 vehicle my parents leased for him because he needed something safe for winter driving. Meanwhile, I was driving a rusted-out 1997 Ford Taurus with 198,000 miles that I bought for $800 from my uncle's neighbor. Had to replace the alternator 2 weeks after buying it, which wiped out 3 months of grocery store paychecks. I still remember the day Tyler got that Jeep. Dad filmed the whole surprise reveal in the driveway, complete with a giant red bow on the hood, posted it all over Facebook like he was father of the year. My car acquisition, Dad texted me the seller's phone number and told me to make sure to check the transmission fluid before you buy it. That was the extent of his involvement. After high school, I did 2 years at community college while working full-time at a warehouse loading dock, transferred to State University, studied network security, worked nights at a 24-hour gas station, graduated with $37,000 in student loans that I'm still paying off. Zero help from parents, not a single textbook. Tyler got sent to a private university with a $42,000 per year price tag, fully funded by the bank of Mom and Dad. When he lost his partial hockey scholarship for failing 2 classes sophomore year, they covered the difference without blinking. He changed majors 4 times and took 5.5 years to get a communications degree. They bought him a MacBook Pro every other year, paid for his apartment in the cool part of campus, gave him a monthly allowance for food, and even funded a semester in Barcelona that was basically a 6-month party. The Barcelona semester was the biggest joke. Tyler took exactly 2 classes, Spanish culture and international communications, and got C- in both. He came back with travel photos from 11 different countries, none of which were on his original academic itinerary. Mom had his favorite shots professionally framed and hung them in the living room. During my junior year, I needed emergency dental surgery for an impacted wisdom tooth that got infected. Cost was $1,800 after insurance. I asked my parents if I could borrow some money until my next paycheck. Mom suggested I ask around for payment plans because their budget was tight. 2 weeks later, Tyler posted Instagram photos of his spring break trip paid for by guess who. My best friend Kevin has witnessed this since middle school. We met in 7th grade math class and stayed tight ever since. He went through similar family crap. His parents divorced when he was 14, and both remarried people with their own kids, basically sidelining Kevin in both households. We bonded over being the overlooked ones. He's now a mechanical engineer at an automotive company, married with a 2-year-old daughter. Kevin saw it all firsthand. He was there when I got a used TI-83 calculator off Craigslist for $40 while Tyler got the latest Apple Watch for time management. He helped me change the oil in my Taurus in 20-degree weather because I couldn't afford the $24.99 oil change special. Meanwhile, Tyler's Jeep was on a premium maintenance plan at the dealership. After college, I landed an entry-level position at a cybersecurity firm. Started at $56,000, shared an apartment with 3 other guys, ate like crap because it was cheap, drove that same Taurus until the transmission finally gave up at 267,000 miles. Bought a used Hyundai for $7,500, drove that for years. My first apartment was a 4-bedroom unit in a complex that had seen better days. My share of rent was $475 plus utilities. I slept with a box fan by my bed 6 months of the year. Roaches were a regular feature, but it was what I could afford while paying off student loans and trying to build savings. The day I drove off the used car lot in my Hyundai Elantra with 87,000 miles on it, Tyler was posting photos of his latest business meeting at a golf resort. His LinkedIn said he was CEO and founder of whatever venture my parents were funding that month. I was tracking every dollar in a spreadsheet and bringing microwave meals to work. Tyler graduated and decided he was too creative for a standard career path. Parents bankrolled his business ventures, including a podcast network. $15,000 down the drain, a drop shipping store, $12,000 wasted, and a consulting firm that never had a single client. When all that failed, Dad pulled strings with a college buddy and got Tyler a marketing coordinator position at a local brewery entry-level job, but somehow he immediately had a company laptop and expense account. During this time, I was putting in 60-hour weeks going to night classes for security certifications and building my professional network the hard way. Every promotion I got was because I outworked everyone else. No connections, no handouts, just pure grinding. I started with basic break-fix IT work, moved to network administration, then specialized in security. Each move came with added responsibility and better pay, but also meant learning new skills on my own time and dime. I lived like a college student for years after graduation. No eating out, no streaming services used, Kevin's Netflix, no new clothes unless absolutely necessary. My apartment decor consisted of whatever furniture previous roommates had left behind, plus a few IKEA basics. Every bonus went straight to savings or debt paydown. No vacations except for those weekends at Kevin's family lake cabin where we'd fish grill, whatever we caught, and sleep on air mattresses. Fast forward to last year. I've busted my ass, jumped companies twice for better roles, got several high-level certifications paid for myself, and finally hit $112,000 as a senior network security engineer. I'd been saving aggressively since my first real job. No vacations other than a long weekend at Kevin's lake cabin, no expensive hobbies, no fancy clothes, lived with roommates until last year when I moved into a basic one-bedroom apartment. After a decade of grinding, I finally bought my house. 3-bed, 2-bath, attached garage, decent yard, in a solid neighborhood about 25 minutes from downtown. Cost me $395,000. Put down $79,000 from my savings and locked in a 4.9% mortgage rate after weeks of shopping around. Closing day was the proudest moment of my life. Sitting at that table, signing those papers, walking out with the keys to my house that I bought with my money that I earned through my work. I didn't post about it on social media. Didn't throw a housewarming party, just quietly moved my stuff over the weekend with Kevin's help. We ordered pizza, set up my TV and couch, and played Xbox until 2 a.m. on moving day, adult equivalent of building a blanket fort. The house itself wasn't perfect. Built in 1996 in decent condition, but needed some updates, but the bones were solid. Good roof, newer HVAC, no foundation issues, and more importantly, it was mine. First projects were practical stuff, changing all the locks and garage door codes, installing a Ring doorbell and security system, replacing the ancient water heater that was on its last legs. Then came small cosmetic improvements, painting the dingy beige walls in the living areas, replacing dated light fixtures, power washing the deck and fence. 2 weeks after moving in, I was still reveling in homeowner bliss. Mom's name flashed on the screen. "Hey Mom, what's up?" "Hi honey, how's the new house getting all settled in?" "Yeah, just putting up some shelves, everything's good." I braced myself for whatever was coming. "That's wonderful, sweetie." The inevitable pause. "So I'm calling because we have a bit of a situation with Tyler." "Of course we do. What happened this time?" "Well, he's had a bit of a setback. The brewery let him go yesterday. Let him go was family code for fired. I'd seen this movie before. You know how these places are? No appreciation for creative types. Something about attendance policies being non-negotiable." I could hear the air quotes. "Apparently showing up 15 minutes late a few times is grounds for termination these days. Most jobs do expect you to show up on time, Mom." She ignored that. "The real problem is his apartment. Without his job, he can't make rent. His landlord is being completely unreasonable about it. Unreasonable meaning he expects to be paid." I scoffed. "Honey, this is serious. Tyler needs a place to stay, just temporarily, of course, just until he finds another job and gets back on his feet." My stomach dropped. "And you're calling me because, well, you have that beautiful new house. 3 bedrooms for just one person. I'm sure you could help your brother out for a few weeks." "Mom, I just moved in. I'm still unpacking, and Tyler and I have completely different lifestyles. It would only be for a short time, 4 weeks, at the absolute maximum, just until he finds something else. I don't think this is a good idea. Your father and I would really appreciate it, honey. Family helps family, right? That's how we raised you." The Guilt Trip Express had left the station. "Let me think about it. There's not really time to think, honey. Tyler has to be out by tomorrow. His landlord already has someone new lined up. We'd let him stay here, but you know your father's back isn't good, and we converted Tyler's old room to your father's home office. I'll call you back," I said, and hung up. I immediately called Kevin. "My brother got fired again," I said without preamble. "Let me guess, Mom called asking for cash. Worse, they want him to move in with me." The snort was audible even over the store announcements in the background. "Please tell me you laughed and hung up. They're saying it's just for a few weeks." "Dude, absolutely not. Have you forgotten the PlayStation incident of 2018? I winced. Tyler had borrowed my PlayStation 4 for just a weekend and returned it 3 months later with 2 broken controllers. It's different now. I own the house. I can set boundaries. And how exactly are you planning to enforce those boundaries? You going to change the locks when he inevitably overstays? He's family, Kev. Bro, I love you, but you're being an idiot. This has disaster written all over it. I'm talking about Titanic meets Hindenburg levels of disaster. I'll think about it. No, you won't. You'll cave because your mom used the magic family guilt words, and then you'll call me in 3 weeks when Tyler has taken over your living room and eaten everything in your fridge. You're exaggerating. I'm being realistic. Your family has a PhD in taking advantage of you. After we hung up, my phone immediately rang again. Dad this time. Your mother tells me you're hesitating about helping your brother. His voice had that authority figure tone he used when he expected immediate compliance. Look, I know you two have had your differences, but he's trying to get back on track. This would just be temporary until he finds another job, 4 weeks tops, I promise. And if it goes longer, it won't. Your mother and I will make sure of it. I don't know, Dad. He's already packed up his stuff. We told him you'd probably say yes. Wait, what? He started packing. We knew you'd do the right thing. You always do. And there it was, the backhanded compliment that doubled as emotional manipulation. Fine, I said, already regretting it, but 4 weeks maximum. If he doesn't have a job and his own place by then, he's out. An hour later, my doorbell rang. It wasn't just Tyler. It was the entire family, Mom, Dad, Tyler, and a car full of his stuff. The moving committee had arrived. Tyler grinned as I opened the door. Hey bro, thanks for the save. This place looks sick. Behind him, Mom beamed like this was some heartwarming family reunion. Dad was already unloading suitcases from the trunk. Tyler pushed past me into the house, immediately checking out the space. Sweet setup. The TV's a bit small, but we can fix that. Which room's mine? I stood there, keys in hand, already sensing the avalanche of regret heading my way. Within 20 minutes, Tyler had commandeered the second largest bedroom, connected his gaming PC to my internet, and was sprawled on my couch scrolling through his phone. Mom was rearranging my kitchen cabinets to make space for Tyler's things, and Dad was offering unsolicited advice about my lawn care routine. When they finally left, Tyler immediately ordered pizza on my account, claiming he'd pay me back when his final check cleared. I texted Kevin a picture of the chaos that happened in my house in less than an hour. His response was immediate. The Titanic has left the dock. I'll prepare the lifeboat, and the I told you so speech. Maybe we should start a betting pool on how long before he brings home a random Tinder date and uses your bed. Anyways, the first week after Tyler moved in was actually decent. Tyler helped unpack some boxes, assembled a bookshelf, and seemed genuinely appreciative. That lasted exactly 9 days. I had the guest bedroom set up with a queen bed dresser, nightstand, and desk, made space in the kitchen cabinets and fridge for his food, gave him a spare house key, basically treated him like an adult roommate. By week 2, Tyler started acting like he owned the place, leaving dishes in the sink, inviting friends over without asking, taking over the living room with his gaming setup. He'd blast music at 1 a.m., eat food I'd bought without replacing it, and leave wet towels on my new bathroom floor. The first time I came home to find 3 strangers in my living room playing my Xbox, I was caught off guard. Tyler introduced them as the guys like I should know who they were. They had ordered pizza and left the empty boxes on my coffee table. One guy had his feet up on my couch with his shoes on. Tyler acted like this was completely normal. I tried talking to him, reasonably established some basic house rules. He nodded along, then completely ignored everything we discussed. When I'd confront him, he'd always have an excuse or say I was being uptight and acting like Dad. Talking to Kevin about it over lunch one day, he warned me that Tyler was establishing residency and could become a legal nightmare to remove if I let this continue. I brushed it off, thinking that sounded paranoid. My brother might be a mooch, but he wouldn't go that far. I was wrong. 1 month turned into 2. No job, no apartment hunting, just Tyler playing video games all day while I worked, then going out with his friends at night. My parents started dropping by unannounced to check on Tyler, but really to scope out my house. They'd make comments like Tyler's room is a bit small for a long-term setup. It was the second largest bedroom, or you should let Tyler set up his gaming station in the living room since he's home all day. Dad would walk around inspecting things, pointing out minor flaws like he was doing me a favor. These gutters need cleaning. Your lawn service missed a spot. This garage door opener sounds like it needs maintenance. Never offering to help, just cataloging imperfections in my home. I noticed small things disappearing too, a pair of wireless earbuds, a portable phone charger, my PlayStation controller, a jacket. When confronted, Tyler always had the same response. Dude, I haven't seen it. Maybe you left it at work. Then I'd find my jacket in his closet or my earbuds in his backpack. The kitchen became a war zone. I'd come home to find every dish dirty food left out overnight spills, not cleaned up. The garbage would be overflowing but never taken out. When I'd ask Tyler to clean up, he'd say he was just about to do that or claim he was waiting for the dishwasher to finish a dishwasher he had never once emptied. My utilities jumped significantly. Tyler would crank the AC to 65 degrees in summer, then open windows. He'd take 30-minute showers twice a day. Every light in the house would be on while he was gaming with 3 monitors running 12+ hours a day. My electric bill doubled and the water bill went up 80%. When I brought it up, he suggested I upgrade to more energy-efficient appliances. 3 months in, I'd had enough. I came home from work to find Tyler had moved my home office setup to the smallest bedroom so he could have the room with better light and more space. "Tyler," I shouted. He sauntered in from the kitchen, energy drink in hand, looking completely unbothered. "Oh, hey, you're home early. What the hell is this?" He shrugged. "Just made a couple changes. That room gets way better natural light. You moved my entire freaking office without asking me in my house that I pay for. It's not a big deal, man. I was careful with your stuff. Most of it. Anyway, your chair rolled over one of those cables, the blue one, probably fine, though. You had no right to touch my things. This is my house. You're a guest here. Seriously, you're going to be that petty about a room. Classic. Always been about the money with you, hasn't it? Money. This isn't about money, it's about freaking respect." Tyler rolled his eyes. "Look, it's not a big deal. I'll help you set up the office in the other room." "No," I said. "You're going to move everything back exactly the way it was tonight, and then you're going to start looking for your own place." He smirked. "Actually, I was thinking I'd stay through the end of the year, save on expenses, you know. Mom and Dad think it's a good plan." Something in me snapped. I grabbed the front of his shirt. "Listen to me very carefully. This is not a family vote. You were supposed to be here for 4 weeks. It's been 3 freaking months. Get your hands off me, man. What's your problem? My problem is you." "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Big Shot Network Engineer," he mocked. I took a deep breath, trying to control my temper. "You have 30 days to find another place. That's it. I'm done." Tyler laughed in my face. "Yeah, and where am I supposed to go? You know I can't afford rent on my own right now. Not my freaking problem. Get a freaking job. Get roommates. Go back to Mom and Dad's. I don't care. But you're not staying here." That weekend, my parents invited me to Sunday dinner. They sat me down after dessert and explained their solution to the current situation. Dad stated that since I was so established in my career, and Tyler was still finding his path, it made sense for Tyler to stay with me indefinitely. Mom chimed in that they'd even help with some of the utilities if needed, but Tyler deserved a stable living situation while he worked for opportunities. I was floored. This wasn't about a temporary situation anymore. They were trying to turn my house into Tyler's permanent residence. I told them absolutely not. "You've always had it easier." Mom sobbed, so disciplined, while Tyler struggles. I laughed bitterly. "Easier. I worked for everything I have." "Family helps family," Dad growled. "He needs to get a job and his own place like we agreed." Dad stood up. "You lack compassion and loyalty." "Loyalty." I pushed back my chair. "Was it loyal when you funded his degree but not mine when you bought him cars while I drove a death trap?" Tyler smirked from the corner. "Always the victim. You're out in 30 days, as I said." I pointed at him, not negotiable. I walked out, leaving them in stunned silence. The final straw came a week later. I came home early from work with a migraine to find Tyler hosting a freaking party in my house with at least 15 people using my new grill. Someone had spilled a drink on my couch. Another person had put a cigarette burn in the deck I'd just refinished. And Tyler had given someone a tour of my bedroom where they'd apparently tested out my bed. I had texted Tyler around noon saying I wasn't feeling well and was coming home early, his response with a thumbs up. When I pulled into my driveway at 2:30, there were 6 cars I didn't recognize parked in front of my house. Music was blasting so loud I could hear it before I got out of my car. I lost it, kicked everyone out, told Tyler he was leaving now. He yelled that I couldn't make him leave, that our parents had told him he had residential rights after staying there 3 months. I literally showed him to the door, tossed his gaming PC and clothes onto the front lawn, and changed the locks that night. I called Kevin immediately, who came over with pizza and helped me document all the damage with time-stamped photos. As we were cleaning up, he noticed Tyler had also taken my spare car key from the hook in the kitchen. We had my car wrecked the next morning. The storm that followed was nuclear. Tyler called our parents, who both showed up at midnight, pounding on my door and threatening to call the police for an illegal eviction. I refused to open up. The next morning, I had formal eviction papers drawn up and delivered to Tyler at our parents' house where he'd retreated. My security cameras caught Mom and Dad driving by my house 3 times the next day. They left voicemails demanding I return Tyler's property. Apparently, the TV from the guest room and some kitchenware were now his. Each message escalated in tone from guilt-tripping to outright threats. Mom's last voicemail actually said, "You'll be sorry when you see what happens next." That's when things got truly insane. Instead of accepting that the gravy train had ended, my parents consulted Tyler's friend's dad, who was a real estate attorney. 3 days later, I was served papers. My own parents were suing me for my house, claiming they had invested emotionally and financially in my success. Tyler had established tenancy and had been illegally evicted after 3 months of rent-free living. I had a moral obligation to provide for family in need. Tyler's mental health struggles news to me required a stable living environment. I was financially capable of purchasing another home. Most insanely, they were demanding the deed be transferred to Tyler, while I continued paying the mortgage for at least 1 year until Tyler could establish sufficient credit. The lawsuit document was 27 pages of delusional entitlement dressed up in legal language. One section detailed all the contributions my parents had made to my success, including providing nutrition during formative years. They fed me as a child, congratulations, and emotional support during educational advancement. They occasionally asked how school was going. The document claimed these constituted an implicit investment in my future earnings and assets. Another section outlined Tyler's supposed contributions to my property, including consultation on interior design. He suggested I get a bigger TV and landscape improvements. He once mowed the lawn when I had a work emergency. According to their filing, these minor tasks constituted sweat equity in my home. The most absurd part was their request for relief. Not only did they want me to sign over my house to Tyler and continue paying the mortgage, but they also requested I pay $15,000 for Tyler's emotional distress caused by the traumatic eviction process and cover all their legal fees. Kevin came over the night I got served and was absolutely floored. He put me in touch with his brother-in-law, Scott, who worked at a law firm specializing in property disputes. Scott reviewed the lawsuit and actually laughed out loud at parts of it. He called it the most frivolous property claim I've seen in 15 years of practice and assured me any judge would throw it out immediately. He offered to represent me at a reduced rate, but warned that even with the discount, legal fees could run $5,000 to $8,000 given the need to prepare formal responses, attend hearings, etc. Against Scott's advice, I decided to represent myself. The case was so absurd, and I had all the documentation needed to prove I purchased the house entirely with my own money. Plus, hiring a lawyer would cost thousands I didn't want to spend on this. Scott helped me prepare anyway, walking me through what to expect in court and how to organize my evidence. We spent 3 evenings at his office going through documents, preparing my statement, and practicing responses to likely questions. For the next month, the family harassment was relentless. Tyler started telling mutual friends I had stolen his inheritance and always got preferential treatment growing up, literally the opposite of reality. My parents called my extended family, spinning a story about how I had promised Tyler could live with me long-term and then cruelly threw him out without warning. Old family friends started reaching out with concerned messages. My high school baseball coach called to ask if everything was okay, saying he'd heard I was going through some troubles. My mother's cousin sent me a long email about the importance of family, complete with Bible verses about brotherly love. My parents had launched a full PR campaign against me. My Uncle Dave, Dad's brother, reached out to tell me my parents had asked to borrow money from him to cover their legal fees, claiming I had mental health issues and was acting irrationally. Thankfully, Dave had always seen through their favoritism and declined. The court date arrived 6 weeks later. I showed up in my best suit, carrying a binder of documents organized with tabs. Mortgage paperwork, bank statements showing the down payment came solely from my account, text messages with Tyler, and my parents clearly stating the living arrangement was temporary, photos of the damage from Tyler's party, everything. My parents and Tyler arrived together in matching blue outfits, like some kind of weird family law firm commercial. Tyler had even slicked his hair back and was carrying a leather portfolio that I'm pretty sure was empty. My mom was already dabbing at her eyes with a tissue before we even entered the courtroom. Their lawyer presented their case first. It was a masterclass in emotional manipulation and legal stretching. He showed family photos spanning decades trying to establish the close family bond. He presented a verbal contract theory where my agreement to let Tyler stay translated to some kind of ownership promise. He presented a narrative where I had supposedly promised Tyler could always have a home with me, twisting my reluctant agreement to a temporary stay into some sort of lifetime housing guarantee. When my turn came, I simply presented the facts. Mortgage solely in my name, all payments from my personal funds, text messages proving the temporary nature of the arrangement, documentation of Tyler's unemployment and pattern of financial dependence, photos of the property damage from his unauthorized party. I began by establishing the timeline when I purchased the house, when Tyler moved in, the agreed-upon temporary nature of the arrangement. I presented text messages between Tyler and me where he explicitly acknowledged the stay was just until I find my own place, and appreciate you helping me out for a few weeks, bro. I submitted financial records showing I had made every mortgage payment, paid all utility bills, and funded all home repairs and improvements myself, while Tyler had never contributed a single dollar to household expenses despite living there rent-free for 3 months. The photos of damage from the party were particularly effective. The wine-stained couch, cigarette burn on the deck, scratched hardwood floors where someone had moved furniture, all time-stamped and clearly documented. I included repair estimates for each item. The judge asked some pointed questions. "Mr. Tyler, what financial contribution have you made to this property?" Tyler stammered about sweat equity from assembling a bookshelf. "Did you contribute to the down payment or any mortgage payments?" Mom tried to argue they had contributed to my success by raising me, which the judge quickly shut down. "And you're requesting that your elder son not only transfer his property to your younger son, but continue making mortgage payments for a home he would no longer own." Dad actually said yes, explaining it was the fair family solution. When the judge asked my father to explain the reasoning behind this arrangement, Dad said something I'll never forget. "Our younger son needs more support in life. Our older son has always been able to take care of himself. We're just trying to level the playing field." The judge looked genuinely bewildered. He asked me one final question. "Did you at any point promise or suggest that your brother would have permanent residence or any ownership interest in your home?" I answered truthfully, "Absolutely not, Your Honor. I agreed to a temporary arrangement of a few weeks while he found a job and his own housing." That was over 3 months ago, during which time he made no effort to do either. The judge called a 15-minute recess. When he returned, he dismissed the case entirely, stating it lacked any legal merit whatsoever and warning my parents' lawyer about bringing frivolous lawsuits in the future. He went on to formally recognize my full ownership rights and stated that any further claims against the property would be considered harassment. He even took the unusual step of ordering my parents to pay my court filing fees, stating that their lawsuit bordered on abuse of the legal system. Outside the courthouse, all hell broke loose. My mom collapsed in dramatic tears. Tyler started yelling that I was dead to him and would regret choosing property over family. Dad just looked at me with this expression of genuine confusion, like he truly couldn't comprehend how his plan had failed. Mom's performance was Oscar-worthy. Tyler stood over her, alternating between comforting her and glaring at me with pure hatred. Dad approached me as I was walking to my car. "This isn't how I raised you," he said, his voice full of disappointment, as if I were the one who had just tried to legally steal someone's house. "Family is supposed to take care of each other. I just walked away, blocked their numbers that night, installed a comprehensive security system the next day, with cameras covering every approach to my house. For the next month, I heard nothing directly from them, but the family grapevine was buzzing. Tyler had moved back in with our parents and was supposedly consulting on social media strategy for local businesses unemployed and playing Xbox. My parents had spent nearly $20,000 on their failed lawsuit, draining a significant chunk of their savings. My cousin Jake called to tell me Tyler was posting cryptic threats on social media. Stuff like karma always comes back around, and sometimes family gets what they deserve. He sent me screenshots. Nothing directly threatening, but the intent was clear. I documented everything and made sure my security system was always armed. Then came the financial fallout. Dad's company went through restructuring, and he was offered early retirement with a reduced pension. Mom's doctor retired, and the new physician brought in his own administrative staff. Suddenly, the bank of Mom and Dad was facing a serious liquidity crisis. The timing couldn't have been worse for them. Dad was only 58, not ready for retirement financially or mentally. His reduced pension was about 60% of his former salary. Mom had been at her job for over a decade and suddenly found herself competing with younger, tech-savvier applicants in the job market. Their mortgage had another 12 years left, and they'd refinanced twice to pull out equity most likely to fund Tyler's ventures. Tyler predictably was no help. Without my house to live in rent-free, he was a financial burden they couldn't afford. Their credit cards were maxed out, and they were juggling bills for the first time in their adult lives. 6 weeks after the court case, I received a text from Dad. "We need to talk. It's important." I didn't respond. Kevin, who'd been my rock through this entire shit show, advised me to maintain complete silence. They're only reaching out because they need something, he pointed out, not because they're sorry or realized they were wrong. His words hit home. Not once in any of their communications had there been an actual apology, no acknowledgement of the lawsuit, the attempted theft of my house, the years of favoritism, just requests for money wrapped in guilt and emotional blackmail. 3 days later, Tyler tried a different approach. He sent an email to my work address. No idea how he got it, with the subject line, "I screwed up and I'm sorry." The body of the email acknowledged no specific wrongdoing, but mentioned he was going through some stuff and could really use a brother right now. The last line gave away the real purpose. Also, Mom and Dad are really struggling with bills since Dad lost his job. They might lose the house. "I know you're doing well, just thought you should know." My response: complete silence. Weeks passed. Then Dad showed up at my door on a Saturday morning. I spoke to him through the video doorbell, refusing to open the door. Dad looked haggard. He started with small talk, then quickly got to the point. They were 3 months behind on their mortgage. Tyler had racked up $4,000 on Mom's credit card before they realized and cut him off. They needed $17,000 to avoid foreclosure proceedings. Just a loan, he stressed. They'd pay me back once they got back on their feet. I finally broke my silence with 5 simple words. Actions have consequences. Goodbye. Dad's face changed. The desperate politeness vanished, replaced by the familiar entitled anger. "After everything we've done for you, we raised you, we clothed you, we put a roof over your head, and this is how you repay us, by bailing on your family." I laughed. "Everything you've done for me? You mean like paying for Tyler's education while I worked through college, or buying him cars while I saved for a rusted Taurus, or suing me for the house I bought with my own money? That's everything." Dad started to respond, but I cut the connection and blocked their access to my video doorbell. Last week, I heard from my cousin that my parents did indeed lose their house. They've moved into a 2-bedroom apartment with Tyler. Dad found part-time work at a hardware store. Mom is interviewing for receptionist positions. Tyler has apparently started working at a cell phone store mall kiosk. My cousin Jake stays in touch, keeping me updated on family developments without trying to guilt me into reconnecting. He understands my position, having witnessed the dynamics our whole lives. According to Jake, my parents had to sell most of their nicer possessions. Dad's golf clubs, Mom's jewelry, their higher-end furniture, just to secure the apartment. Tyler's precious gaming setup was sold piece by piece to cover bills. My house is now truly my sanctuary. I've replaced the furniture Tyler's friends damaged, finished the deck properly, and converted the 3rd bedroom into a home gym. Kevin comes over weekly for our poker nights with some guys from my work. I've been dating a veterinarian I met when I adopted my Rottweiler Max. Max was the best decision I made after buying the house. Found him at a rescue. 3-year-old owner surrendered due to size. They got a big dog without researching the breed. He's 110 pounds of loyal companion who happens to have an intimidating bark, perfect security system upgrade. The home gym was my pandemic project. Bought equipment piece by piece as I could afford it. Nothing fancy, just a power rack, adjustable bench, barbell, and dumbbell set. Added rubber flooring and a wall-mounted TV. Being able to deal with a crowded commercial gym has been a game changer for my stress levels and fitness. My girlfriend Sarah and I have been together for 4 months now. We met when I brought Max in for his initial checkup after adoption. She's straightforward, independent, and has her own career and ambitions completely different from my family's dynamic. She understood my family situation immediately and respects my boundaries without judgment. I've also started investing more seriously, set up a proper retirement portfolio, maxing out my 401k match and adding to a Roth IRA, and started a separate investment account for potential future property purchases. My goal is to buy a rental property in the next 5 years, passive income that builds equity over time. My family doesn't get to be part of this life I've built, not anymore. Sometimes the most valuable thing money can buy isn't a house. It's the freedom to choose who deserves a place in your life. People keep asking if I feel guilty. I don't, not even a little. You don't get to treat someone like an ATM their entire life. Try to legally steal their house and then expect sympathy when your own poor decisions catch up with you.